Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlooks. Apologies for the delay today. Had some technical difficulties, so instead of being at 7:45, it's now nearly 8:45. It's 8:40ish. So let's look at these markets. First things first, as ever, let's look at the news events for the day coming. The possible risk impact coming up. Well, we've always seen GDP figures came out better than expected. That's of course because the new incumbents looking after the country. They'll claim for that, I'm sure. Core inflation then out later for the US, so it's really an inflation picture today. This will very much be key once again as ever. It's one of the core indicators that the Fed are looking at to make decisions, and so that will be watched closely later. So what we've got going on then technically, and well, not a lot yesterday. We got this slight drift which was sort of largely built up through the sort of, it looked like it was all yesterday, but yesterday it really didn't do too much at all. It was confined. It barely got up to its R1 there. It eventually got up to it eventually, but anyway, pushing up at the moment, and we're just seeing it starting to push through a little bit. Where to? Well, this near-term highs just might stall things before we get too far. When we start planning anything here, this is just, I think the market might just wait a little for that data to come out before it does too much. So technically, I still think this market should be going up on a technical basis. It's given us all the signs, the higher lows, higher highs that we sort of would be looking for in this market, but with the news this afternoon, that could turn completely. So we could see something like this occur in terms of market movement. So trader beware. The pound, things are working a bit quicker on this now this morning. Now I've sorted it. Pound is pushing up, and it's extended its gains here. Did I say some of the things are working okay now? It gets into a delay. There we go. Right, now let's see if it'll stay there now. So it's already up to its R1. There's a potential for it to run up further into its R2 now. It's sort of testing its R1. We'll see what happens here, but if it does fall down, of course the daily pivot's a normal target for me, but it's such a high probability, over 70 odd percent, 75%. It's got a chance of hitting, but on a day like this in a big trend, I don't look to trade it. I look to see if it's already hit the R1, whether it'll push through to the R2. There's not a lot of pips there if it does, and if it doesn't start moving soonish, probably just after 9, if it doesn't start picking out there, it might just get into the doldrums and hang in there, say sideways until the news comes out later. Chop and roll. The US dollar yen then, this is still not in major selling zone. It looked the other day when it was doing all this, this could come off some more. This could be the beginnings of something, but it's all changed, and it's now looking, well, more of the same potentially, but again this could change very quickly. You see the size of some of these moves around news events, etc., and we could see similar later. So difficult one, and in what has been very low volatility compared to what it normally is. Still 90 odd pips on a daily basis compared to 45.50 on the 50 pips on the euro, and just 60 pips on the pound. These markets have come to a bit of a standstill, summer standstill, and there's a picture of a summer standstill. I can't speak this morning. Okay, Aussie dollar. It's the excitement of things not working. Aussie dollar pushing through its yearly pivot here, looking more positive. When I was looking at the sentiment at the beginning of the week, the Aussie dollar, the Canadian dollar, the main commodity currencies were showing potential for further upside, and we're seeing that at the moment. But today it's just stalled into its R2. The pivots are so pinched here. You see how tight they are. They could be absolutely blasted away when they're like this. This is when you get this sort of the percentage days, which don't occur very often. It's because this has happened. We've got things pinched. This could be through the R3, or through, maybe depending on the data later, down through the S2, S3. Right. US dollar CAD, never seen anything quite so flat for a long time. But when you look at the range on the dailies here, it should be too surprising. It has been ranging. Firstly, back at the beginning of the year, there it ranged for quite a long time. It looked like it was sort of going to soften again. The US dollar was going to strengthen more against the Canadian dollar for some way. It even looked at some nice patterns there, but not to be, and it's consolidated the other picture. In fact, I'm still now looking on the short side more so on this, but it's struggling around my pivot. Well, I say my pivot is the previous highs and lows. You talk about give support and resistance. If you wanted a textbook picture, here it is. Anyway, looking like at some stage it might rock and roll over. We'll see, but for now, far too choppy for me to be trading until it starts breaking out this range. I need to see something clearer, more defined. I certainly don't want to be trading it within the range. New Zealand dollar, still to me, daily wise, it still looks soft from what it's done here. The market's maybe starting to discount it a little more. It's got a bear flag on this 4-hourly picture, and it's questionable. Now it has changed here, it has put a higher low in on the hourly, so the short time frame is showing some weakness of structure. So you've got these this higher low here, and well, we'll see what it does here. Now if it breaks the high here, well, there's probably more signs that it will push up further, but if the other markets all do well, it probably would drag it up, but rather than it actually being strong itself. It's more because of a weak dollar than a strong New Zealand dollar. Would be the reasoning for the movement there. The US dollar, Swissy with the US dollar, is off on this on the hourly at the moment. Let's just look at the dailies here, and again, it was starting to move back in its original direction. This after being all choppy and ugly in June. July saw it coming back here a little bit, but looking like it was going to continue. But it's quite a mess here on the 4-hourlies. It's showing its intention, I think, with the higher low there on the 4-hourly. Structurally, it's got the signs of potential continuation. Short term though, it's a little bit messy, and well, as we've seen over the last couple of days, it gets one little surge around 2 o'clock there, but for the majority of the day, when you look at this, it's quite flat. Currency pair I like trading a bit and have an auto trader running on. Well, not setting a lot of the signals up, but certainly going for it on the dailies here, just continuing to push up this euro yen. When can it stop, I hear you say? Well, when it stops, it's at the moment it's just looking more and more bullish. Retail traders, there's about 80%, depending on which brokers you're looking at, but 80% are short on it of the traders that are holding it. It's not 80% of all traders are short on the it's just that of those that are holding it, but there are some that are in the money and in the nearby in the money, and they're probably doing pretty well this week. Anyway, it's pushing up there, but we know that traders that are in the money do eventually let go of it quite quickly once it starts turning. We'll see, but for now this is a buy only market for me, but no setups at the moment. Euro pound, again rolling, certainly helping things here at the moment, and well, there's no trades for me there. It has dropped down this morning quite sharply, but it spends too much time, again it spent too much time sideward. I shall leave the pairs there for a moment. It's just for those that are following on YouTube, it's just a quick look at the normal markets here. Gold, let's just take it out. It is starting to pitch back up and start to move back up. That just shows you the weakness, the underlying dollar effectively coming through here at the moment. It's an ugly site, which might it looks bullish, but it's just ugly where it sits at the moment. Oil, well, we saw that dip off a little bit initially yesterday. It made a new low, and then now it's it finally recovered there later in the morning. Turned 8 o'clock. It actually put the bullish engulfing here, key reversal bar, and went pretty decently. But again, later in the day, it's shoved up here. I'm not massively convinced either way with it at the moment. That's probably because it's a bit weird. It was looking good on the bullish side. Overall, obviously we had all this movement here. We had a lot of consolidation in between it, but it does have the potential to continue to that upside. A weaker dollar would certainly see that coming through. S&Ps, well, no surprises yesterday. Yet another new yearly high, all-time high running through on these markets. The S&Ps, the Nasdaq, the Dow is holding back a little bit more than the other two. Is not making new highs yet, but it did have a sound day yesterday, pushing up there. Decent, solid day. The DAX, well, a bit of a reversal day eventually yesterday. Not a key reversal day or anything like that, but it's starting to pick back up again. A little bit indecisive at the moment. What's going on here? It's not the nicest of bars. If this ends closing below the low of the previous bar there, that's quite a key reversal bar. Not quite there yet, but if that closes lower, I would expect maybe if it breaks the low, then a bit more of a continuation. Okay, and finally the FTSE. So FTSE quite range bound on the dailies here. No, it's just not followed the rest of the markets at all. Has got higher lows in there. Looks better on the hourlies here than anything else. Again, it's just looking a tad on the weaker side on this bar. We'll wait and see. I'd be looking for short. If I was looking to short, I'd be waiting for the break of the daily pivot there. Where it's sitting here, it just looks, with the higher lows that come through there, it could just creep up slowly. Okay, so for you YouTubers, this is where I'm going to end it. I wish you a great day's trading, and I'll catch you in the morning. Take care.